ghost consultants without license operating in Canada, without and registered consultants are operating and demanding openly 70,000, 30,000, 50,000.
Found out that they were approved, rejected those anyway, and then when the NDP raised that in the House, they reversed those decisions.
Well, look, Doug Ford and his government are famous for their flip-flops. Now these workers are being left behind as if they are bad employees, and they are not. And their employers desperately want them back. So it's very unfortunate. You know, the people we're talking about that are here with us today, they went through the process properly. There was no flags on them. And all they're asking for is that they continue in the process that they began. So far, the provincial government has not provided the same opportunities. They're not playing along. We have a shortage of these skilled workers in this country and in this province.
So, Merit, do you think that why government took this step of OINP? What is the main reason? Because everything was on the public platform that so much of scams had happened. And many students, they were innocent.
Yes.
But at the large, when we saw the discussions in the parliament, the scams were one of the reasons.
Yeah.
How you see that?
Well, look, I think that they took a couple of specific examples and they applied that to all of these situations, when in fact the real issue was that the government had mismanaged the program, that it wasn't processing of these applications, wasn't happening properly, people were being left behind, and so they used that as an excuse. And unfortunately, now these workers are being left behind, and they've been cut off. And it's very unfortunate because they've been labeled with the same, bad, as if they are bad employees, and they are not. And their employers desperately want them back. So it's very unfortunate. I think it's awful that the government was painting everybody with the same brush. And look, we now know we have these folks, they're still here because they have invested in our country, they have paid their taxes, they have built a life here. They should be able to continue through that process, and that's all that they're asking for. I don't know if you want to add something, Alexa.
So are you ready for any kind of investigation? Are you asking the Ontario government to do the investigation? Those who are innocent should be given chance. Those who already passed the system by fraudulent ways, they should be brought to the justice.
Sure. So we're asking that they allow those who were in the skilled trade stream a fair process.
Yeah.
So we're not saying they have to reopen the stream. We're saying the applicants that were in the stream deserve to complete that process, and if they are approved, to be allowed to continue to thrive in Ontario and to give back to the economy, which they've been doing for years.
But file-to-file investigation should be there because innocent should be given the chance,
right.
and those who were fraudulent, they should be brought to justice.
We're hearing that in some cases under the employer stream, they're giving answers within 10 days.
Mm-hmm.
So they have the staffing capacity to process applications. We're asking them to put some of that capacity to these fine folks who have been paying taxes, have been contributing, have been doing incredible jobs that are desperately needed. They deserve the fairness.
Is IRCC and toothless body? Reason is, we did some reports where the ghost consultants, means those who are not authorized to work to give immigration services here in Canada, they are operating. Even after those exposures, still they are operating. Police is not recording their complaints. The registered consultants, they are asking so much of money from these innocent, those who came to this country for their better future. Do you think that system has collapsed at all the levels, from the federal to the provincial?
I think what we're talking about generally is a few bad actors, and we shouldn't be.
But it's not few, it's a big number.
I hear you. Yeah, I hear you. And, certainly we always have to keep an eye out, and we need to make sure there are protections in place so that people aren't exploited as they're trying to pursue their careers and build a family and build a life here. And absolutely, in Ontario and in Canada, we have, I think, a responsibility to make sure that people are not exploited, clearly.
So what should be done to stop that? Ghost consultants without license operating in Canada, without and registered consultants are operating and demanding openly 70,000, 30,000, 50,000, and they own many big houses here. No investigation, nothing at all. Licenses are active. So which leader, which political party will raise this voice from federal to the provincial. It's a big issue because
No,
these
I know, it
all
is a
those
big
who are
issue.
standing here,
Yeah.
they are the victims.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, once again, I've been at town halls here in the Peel region on all kinds of community safety issues, whether it's, extortion or car theft. We look at these issues and we see that again and again, this region in particular is kind of ignored, is not paid attention to.
Ignored means collapsed, the system has collapsed?
I think I wouldn't call it I'm not going to use that word, but I would say that I think that people here in this region deserve to make sure that the rules are properly enforced and that people are protected just like anywhere else. I'm MARIT STILES. I'm the leader of the Ontario NDP and the leader of the official opposition here in Ontario. Myself and MPP Alexa Gilmore, who is the MPP for Parkdale High Park, we have been sitting down today with these good people. All of them, skilled workers, people who've brought their skills and their talents to Ontario through the OINP program, and they have done everything right. They have paid their taxes. They have contributed to our communities. Their employers are eager for them to be back at work. And unfortunately, they have been left behind by the provincial government. We know there has been some indication from the federal government that they might be willing to help extend visas, et cetera, through this process. So far, the provincial government has not provided the same opportunities. They're not playing along, and they're saying a lot of nice things, but actually not helping these folks. And so we wanted to meet with them today to get a sense of where things are at, how things are proceeding, and what needs to be done next. And we have a sense of a strategy, I think, in place for next steps that we're going to continue to work with them to raise the profile of this issue and try to get answers and action from the provincial government. Well, we as they were outside there, many of our MPPs, including myself, were out a number of times to meet with them. And they've tried everything. They've talked to their members of provincial parliament here in Brampton and in the Peel region. They have spoken to as many people as they could. They've met with the Minister of Labour, but they're still not getting the answers that they need. And let's be honest, a lot of people have had to go back, have had to go home, and their employers are left with nobody to do the work that they need done. The Premier talks and the Minister of Labour talks as if this is an issue of, them following the process, et cetera, that it's not a given, that it's not a right to be here. But that's not what's going on. These are folks who did everything right. They followed the process. They've worked here, some of them for many years. Their employers need them back. We have a shortage of these skilled workers in this country and in this province. And so I think we are talking now about how the government could treat them more fairly, whether or not there's opportunities still for them to make certain exemptions, one time maybe, just to make sure that these folks can continue here and that their employers aren't left behind. It's heartbreaking, frankly. It's heartbreaking to hear these stories because they have done everything right. They've been very respectful. And they've stood out there in the cold day after day. And here we are. In another month, the legislature will be back. Does Doug Ford and do David Piccini really want to have these people still out front in the legislature again? They've been left out in the cold for far too long. They deserve better. They deserve to be respected. Most of us in this country are immigrants. And we came here because we believed in this country and the opportunity it provided. And we need people. We desperately need to be a welcoming country if we are going to be able to compete in the world. Absolutely. We will continue to fight for these workers as long as we need to. And I think, honestly, their requests are very, very reasonable. So there's no reason why the government shouldn't be moving forward. Absolutely. And in some ways, I don't see it as very different. We see Doug Ford telling young people, telling students, telling newcomers that, you shouldn't expect so much, that, get in line. I always say Doug Ford has forgotten the privilege that he has, right? He's forgotten that he came here, his family at some point came here from another place and were given many opportunities and a lot of privilege. He was born and raised with a silver spoon in his mouth, and he can't see beyond that right now. The people that are going to be the most impacted by this government's cuts to the Ontario Student Assistance Program, OSAP, are young people, are their families who are already struggling. Most Ontarians will not be able to qualify for those grants, and what it means for young people and others who are trying to maybe return to training and education, like mature students, is struggling with debt for decades. I came to Ontario as an undergraduate student to study here because there were opportunities in Ontario, because I could get a good education and I could find good opportunities and jobs here. I've contributed to this province. Young people, newcomers have contributed to this province. They deserve a government that will support them. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's the other side of this, right? Is that we need to make sure that young people, that newcomers that are coming here, are not exploited by companies that are bad actors. I don't think it's everybody, but we know that this is an ongoing issue, and we want the government to be paying attention. We want the government to be ensuring that there's action taken against those bad actors. But I have to be clear, the people we're talking about that are here with us today, they went through the process properly. There was no flags on them. And all they're asking for is that they continue in the process that they began. Well, look, Doug Ford and his government are famous for their flip-flops, right? They change their minds, and we don't give up. We know that when we fight, we win. And when we're together and united, we win. And so just like we're going to fight to save OSAP, and that we fought to save the Greenbelt, right? And we won. We won when they went to court against the nurses. We win when we fight together. We're going to keep organizing and pushing back. Right now, we're going to look for some immediate relief for these people because they have been, left without any protection, and they need to be able to stay here long enough to have their applications processed. And the government needs to step up. I hope that they will do that. We're going to keep fighting for it. And so far, we've heard a lot of good, nice words from some of the members of provincial parliament here, but we actually haven't seen them fight for these folks.
Yeah, well, what we know, right, is that there were there were many that were in the process, about 2,600, and that the staffing in the ministry have the capacity to actually review them. And in fact, they did review 59 of them, found out that they were approved, rejected those anyway, and then when the NDP raised that in the House, they reversed those decisions. So we know that they have the capacity. We know that the onus is on them to do it. These individuals did everything right. The government now has to step up and treat these workers fairly.